Howdy folks, Sunny South. Hope everybody doing real good. Filet mignon on the menu this evening. Or as Gordon Ramsay likes to call it, a fillet steak. I'm going to show you how to cook these fillets here this evening that'll mimic any good restaurant you go to get a good steak. I got two fillets here. They're about 8 ounces each. I've padded them real dry. You want to make sure you start out with a dry steak. It would be even better if you put these on a cooling rack in the refrigerator for a couple of hours and let the low humidity and the cool air just dry the surface of those steaks. You'll build a crust a little bit easier and quicker. Once we get those seared, they're going to go in the oven and roast about 300 degrees until we get an internal temperature of about 130 is where I'm going to pull it for about a medium rare. That's what I'm shooting for. And then we're going to put together a star of the show here, which is a red wine pan sauce. Takes these filet mignons over the top. This particular cut of beef is a little bit bland because there's not much fat in it, but it's extremely tender. So we're going to whip up a pan sauce just to enhance this steak a little bit. And the ingredients we're going to need for that is a shallot, 1 clove of garlic. We're going to put some thyme in there, a bay leaf, some dried tarragon. Going to need some beef broth, some Worcestershire sauce, some pepper. Going to need a dry red wine. That's a Cab Sauv. Going to finish it out with some butter. Traditionally, Worcestershire sauce does not go in a red wine reduction, but I really like W sauce, and I'm going to be using it for the salt content. Makes it extra good. Let's get to cooking. The first thing we're going to do is get a little bit of prep out of the way. We got a garlic clove here. We're going to get it minced up a little bit. A little old shallot. I left the root end on this. It's going to make it easier to cut. I'm not going to use all of this shallot. About half of it. I'm going to put it right over in the bowl with the garlic because it's going to be going in at the same time. I'm going to put some avocado oil on here just to help this salt and pepper stick a little better. Use whatever high smoke point oil you got. Canola oil works good. Vegetable oil works good. And we're going to season these pretty vigorously. They're pretty thick steaks. All around. Get some cracked pepper on here. Alright, we're well salted. Let's get a skillet heated up and get these bad boys a cooking. We're going to get some high smoke point oil in. This is avocado oil. Use whatever you got. And I usually cook my steaks in cast iron, but I'm going to be using the stainless steel today. If you're using stainless steel, just make sure it's thick and heavy bottomed. We're going to be cooking at a pretty high temp. It's over medium high right now. We're just going to let this oil shimmer and just puff a little smoke, which it just done. So we're going to drop these steaks. And we're going to let them sit there and not fool around with them for about 2 minutes. Once the crust builds up, they'll release from the skillet. We're going to sear both sides, and then I'm going to roll them around, kind of sear the edges. And then they're going to go back here on this cooling rack on a baking sheet into the oven at 300. It's preheating. And we're going to let them cook to they're about 130 degree internal. While they're roasting in this oven, we're going to put a pan sauce together. Give these a look here and see what they're doing. Looking pretty good. I'm going to give that another 30 seconds. Go ahead and flip these bad boys over. And when you turn your steaks, set them down on a different part of the skillet. That way you allow the skillet to build fond in another spot. Plus where you pulled the steak up from is cooler because the meat has been sucking the heat out of the pan. So you want to move off to a part of the skillet that's really hot. And push down, make sure you got good contact. Alright, I think these steaks are ready for the oven. I'm going to pull them and set them over here on this rack. Get a baseline temp here. See where we're at. 96 degrees. Alrighty. Let's get these in the oven. Those are going to roast. It's going to take probably at least 10, maybe 15 minutes to come up to 130. Let's start working on this pan sauce. Got a beautiful fond on the bottom of that skillet. Get a pat of butter in there. We're going to get our garlic and our shallot in. Get us some red wine in here to deglaze. Ooh, that smells pretty good. A little more in there. Get our beef broth in. That was about 1/2 to 3/4 cup of red wine, and that was 1/2 cup of broth. Throw some thyme sprig in. Get some bay leaf in. Dried tarragon. Let's put about a teaspoon in there. Worcestershire This is my salt content. You hit that to taste. Get a couple turns of black pepper in. I'm going to move this back to a better burner for this. And we're going to let this simmer and reduce while these steaks are roasting in the oven. And once this gets reduced pretty good, we're going to finish it off with some butter. And that's going to be an outstanding pan sauce. Pan sauce is about halfway reduced. Let's take a temp check on these steaks. Let's see where we're at. $131 and $128. Let's pull that one on the left. Give that other one, that thicker one, another minute or two. Set it up here and let it rest. We got this reduced down pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and get this bay leaf and thyme out of there. Turn the heat back on that, let it go just a little bit more. Thick and concentrated. And we'll get this other steak out the oven. I'll tell you what, sure do smell good. Still gonna need another minute. Alright, we got this down where it needs to be. Get some butter swirled in here. Get this finished up. We got the heat turned off here. We just want this butter to emulsify. Like it. Check this other steak. Good. About 132 on that. Let's get it out of there. We'll need a little more butter. This right here is going to be a delicious sauce for those fillets. Give it a taste, see if it needs anything. Oh boy, that is good. So we got our steaks up here resting. You want to make sure you let your steaks rest after you get done cooking them. Because as they're cooking, water tries to run from heat. So it's pushing all the moisture and juices toward the center of the steak. When you let it rest, that moisture and those juices start to go back into the rest of the meat fibers. If you was to cut it right now, it just all run out. So just let it all, just sit there and relax and get happy. In the meantime, we're going to strain this sauce. And you don't have to strain this sauce, but I just think it makes it more luxurious, fancy like when you strain it. Get it nice and smooth. There we have it. Red wine reduction pan sauce. Let's get this steak plated up. Get some baby broccoli in here. Let's cut into this bad boy. Got a nice little medium there. Give it a hit. See how it's tasting. Very tender. Oh my goodness. Woo! That right there is right. That's just as good as a filet that you can get at any fancy steakhouse. Absolutely delish. And it just cuts like butter. Matter of fact, I'm going to cut it with a butter knife. Look at that. Look. That sauce. And that's it, folks. Filet mignon with a red wine reduction pan sauce. I guarantee you it's a daggum table slapper. Till next time, peace.